Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're going to talk about Nikon P1000 in 2024. So let's dive deep into it. So what exactly is this? Well, it was a dinosaur of a long gone era. It was a super zoom camera that was released in September 2018. Basically by January of 2019, everybody could buy it. Now this was priced at $1,000, so not too expensive. And even in India, it's actually available on a road on price, 75,000 rupees. So not too expensive. Now, why it was such a big deal and still is, people still ask me about this exact camera. The reason is it was basically Nikon's engineer sat down and they're like, what if we went YOLO? So this camera had a record breaking 125x of zoom, x being range of motion. Generally, most times you only have like 3, 5, maybe 10, maybe 20 in small point and shoot camera, something like this. This puppy 125. They are broadcast camera that can barely touch this. Like this is bonkers. This is like just take it and go. Basically this, if they would have made it any larger in terms of range, it would have reached a point where it's like, bro, I can't see further simply because earth is curving away. And by the way, even at this range, atmosphere plays such a big role that atmospheric simmering is gonna limit your resolution. So fundamentally it was like, whoa, it's like whole different beast. Like there is nothing when it was released, nothing now that even comes close to this. Like other companies have something like this, which they call bridge camera, basically a camera that has a bit more oomph than a point and shoot and less costly than a full-fledged mirrorless setup. So bridge camera, something basic, something in between. You want a bit more oomph, but you do not want to go all in, that sort of scenario. So in 35mm equivalent, this puppy goes from 24mm wide angle to 3000. That's again 3000. That puppy is telescope level. Now aperture is a bit small, but that is to be expected. That is starts from f2.8 goes to f8. Now at that sort of rating, f8 is, by the way, cheap lenses. Basically f8 full frame lenses at this sort of millimeters, let's say 600mm. Yeah, look at the price, more than this whole camera. So fundamentally you may be like, f8, yeah, for telephoto people that's like f8, whoa. So this camera, while it was basically silly, let that be very clear. When Nikon had a very successful series, P900, and bridge cameras were getting heated up, Panasonic had some offerings, Sony had a really good offering somewhere around this sort of price range, actually twice the price, but they had 1-inch sensor and the range was much smaller. So they like literally hammered into the range part. It's like, okay, what if we stretch the range? So range is very bonkers. It is 4K capable. For that time it was mind-boggling. 16 megapixel. So this is what we are talking about. Point and shoot, basically turbocharged cool pics. Now what about performance? Well, performance, you have to understand, it was cool pics that was scaled up rather than a DSLR scaled down. So it was literally, did I remove the battery or something? Nope. Yep. So basically you're gonna get this sort of experience. Yep. Yeah, this is a 10x when I bought it. This is like my gift for clearing class 12. So this puppy is Coolpix S8100. There was S8400 if I'm not mistaken, that was 20x. So this is like, let that thing, it has 100x more than that. So it is on a whole different level. But it does mean Coolpix was very successful, but it was very hated by a professional photographer or even amateurs, simply because it did not have any manual mode. Meaning, even in this camera, which is not a very cheap camera, it's not like the lowest of the line of Coolpix. It's a kind of mid-range to high-end in Coolpix lineup. Has no manual mode, meaning I cannot control any vector, let alone ISO, shutter, aperture. I cannot control anything. So here they are like, hey, somebody is buying this. That means they are a bit familiar with photography. So they are like full-fledged manual mode. So at least it will behave like a DSLR, and it does have raw photos. So good. However, sensor is small, almost similar size as this puppy, and it's old. What does that mean? That simply means, this is why I hate camera companies. They never cross 1980s. You will get a image quality that is comparable to 2020's smartphone. Basically, before 2020's the smartphone camera image, something like that. After 2020, we went all in with computational photography, and sensor technology also improved because of BSI sensors and fast readout sensor. So we have really good photography right now, even on a small sensor. This is before that. So your image quality will be like more like, okay, I can see it. Basically, it's an old smartphone attached to a giant lens. Basically, you are buying this camera for the lens. So image quality, like that's how you have to interpret it. One weak point is that it has contrast detect autofocus, and that will come to haunt you a bit. Anybody who has used this sort of thing, they know about it. And if you're coming from old handycam days, this is basically a booster charged handycam. So contrast detect autofocus, but be mindful, this was made when European Union was high on something, and they were like, what if all cameras, even this camera, if it can capture more than 30 minutes, it will be a video camera and they will charge a extra tax for it. That's why all camera had the 30-minute recording limit. Thankfully, now they have removed it, but this is before that. And I do not know why no camera company has updated any of their older models. Only new models have this update where you can record more than 30 minutes. So that's there. So your photographs, depending on lighting, depending on angle, will be, it will be good or bad. Like, do not expect like, oh, something is there, I'm gonna blur out everything in the background if it's close enough. No, it's not, not that great. If you have something that is already in the foreground, like very far gone, and something that is very close to you, of course, then you're gonna get creamy butter background blur. But do be reasonable. So the performance-wise, basically turbocharged handycam. Now, the reason why people are still attached to this camera, you can still find a lot of videos about it and a lot of attention about this, is simply because it's a fun camera. There are very few cameras that are fun. Right now, what I'm doing. Right now, majority of the cameras are very dull and they're very crippled. Basically, if you compare D3100 when it was released, what it could do compared to Nikon's flagship, the gap was like only performance. It was like, hey, flagship could do far more because again it's 3 times more expensive. This is not bad. Nowadays it's like, oh, this could actually do almost everything because again it has same silicon as the flagship one, so they cripple it and you will feel it. And if you are coming from smartphone, you will find it to be very frustrating. However, this camera is genuinely unique. Nothing matches to it. So fundamentally, it's on a whole different level. Basically, you will first time experience atmosphere. You're like, oh, like just because I can zoom into like say something that is on top of a mountain does not mean I can actually see it clearly. Why? Atmosphere. Even if you go like, what if I put a big ass trap on it? Like, go ahead. Then also atmosphere will be like, and it's a very different experience. It's like basically having a very high quality binoculars and you're like, whoa. So there's genuine uniqueness, genuine fun that you can have. Like you can have fun with your kids. It's like that kind of a different experience. And weather will affect your pictures far more than the camera itself. This is one thing that as a wildlife photographer, all wildlife photographer professional one, they understand this. It's not about the bird or about the equipment you have. It's about the synchronization of weather with your shot, because this sort of shot generally has to happen exactly right time. If atmosphere haziness is not good enough, you're gonna get blurry image. Does not matter how sharp your lens is. So for example, people say generally just imagine rain happened, like splash rain happened, and then afterwards you had a very clean sun sign, everything is quite clean, it will be crisp. You same bird, same forest, and it's like a winter kind of foggy kind of winter, yeah, good luck. And if it's like a smog kind of scenario, yeah, bye bye. So be very mindful, and this camera will actually expose all of that. You will notice season in your photograph, so it's a very unique kind of experience. And if you are one of those people who like like I shoot with this and then zoom in as much as possible, this camera will satisfy me need. Basically this camera is like, bro, you do not need more than this. Like you just do not. That's how far it goes. Basically it will satisfy your needs and gives the illusion of astrophotography, like this sort of photography, which is like actually there. Now the reason why I'm saying illusion is like astrophotographers who are actually doing it as a hobby, they will look at it and laugh, especially if you look at this sort of images 1 to 1 pixel. So you will be like, there is a reason why aperture on this sort of bridge camera is millimeters, while the time even the cheapest crappiest telescope people buy is 130 millimeter. So there is a reason. That's like 13 centimeter versus 13 millimeter. That's the jump. There is a reason. Like you do need large aperture for astrophotography, and nothing can compare to it. Meaning if you're traveling, you're just YOLOing around it, nothing comes close to it. Nobody can pull out their S23 Ultra and like, look how far I can see. You're like, bitch, please. You can zoom in so far, like you can find animals. And again, especially for wildlife, it's very good because wildlife do not like to be roaming around humans. They understand that humans are the big daddy of this planet. So they generally avoid us, and it's a good thing. You can observe them in their candid environment rather than like directly looking at us, like looks like posing. You can find them in their candid environment. So nothing. It's truly a fun camera. For those who know what they are doing with it, they're gonna have fun with it, and that's why it's still selling. Nikon is still making it. However, there is some serious risk with this. This is too old for smartphone generation. Meaning, if nowadays you are randomly finding out this camera and it's like, hey, what if I want to buy it right now? It's like, yeah, cost is quite attractive compared to all other camera. It's quite attractive. There is no discussion about that. But from people who are coming from smartphone, they will be frustrated beyond belief. It does not even have touchscreen. And yeah, we are talking about something that was in 2018. You can see that, like, they were like, hey, we can come connect to your smartphone. I'm like, dude, just have a touchscreen here. So lack of touchscreen will frustrate you, and the fact it has sloppy autofocus for that sort of optical range, and it's sloppy simply because it does not have a good technology, that's just like frustrating. And lack of USB-C, that makes it very difficult for travel camera. There has been a law passed by 2024, this is the last year, when we're gonna have any sort of proprietary standard with mobile chargers. All mobiles have already switched to USB-C, but their standards are floating. But by 2024, this is the last year, by the end of it, all smartphones have to utilize power delivery. So that's why even cameras are moving to USB-C. Any device that is not too big has to use USB-C. And by 2026, even laptops have to switch in. Like, laptops are getting a bit more headroom because they do need to work with higher voltage. So your mobile phone will generally go to 24 volt USB-C power delivery, and laptops will go to 48 volts. So that puppy still needs some cooking time. So that law. So you have to understand, everybody is moving to USB-C. This puppy has micro B. Now, thankfully, I'm coming from Nikon itself. Nikon used to have their own proprietary BS because all these companies get orgasm from proprietary BS. It has micro B, which is at least some likely to find the cable, but not USB-C. And nowadays, micro B is going extinct. That was the design intent of it. So this USB-C will be, lack of USB-C will be frustrating, like this micro B port. And here's the deal. The battery charges in the camera. It like reminds me of the good old days of this camera. I have to open the door. I have to pull out the battery. And then I do nothing, because this is not how you can charge. You can buy chargers, third-party chargers for it, but you can't do much about it. You have to do like this, close it, then put a proprietary cable, in this case micro beam cable, and wait for 3 hours. 2018, we had speed charging by then. It still takes 3 freaking hours, and lithium ion charges in 1 hour. 1 hour. Lithium ion chemistry is 1C rated, so you can charge 0 to 80% as quickly as you want, but full charge, it will take 1 hour. So it does not even have 15 minutes 0 to 18 charge, or 30 minutes 0 to 80% charge. No. 3 hours. So, and you can't tether charge it. Basically, you can't have a power bank and just connect it. That's why I said, like, anybody who's buying older cameras, like back in the days, this was the philosophy, that buy old camera, buy kick-ass lens. People who are coming from a smartphone, they cannot do that. And again, if you see the frustration that you're gonna experience, you'll be like, dude, I do not need the most latest and greatest lens, because by the time I'm good enough to use it, I would have thrown the body. So lack of USB-C, 3 hour charging time, super slow memory architecture. That's why I keep saying this is a cool pix that was scaled up, not a DSLR shrunk down. It fills up the buffer in basically one shot of 7 seconds, meaning tuck, 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 done. Now you wait. Now you literally wait for it to dump down. And like, okay, card would be slow now. Same camera, basically same sort of year of release of this camera. This has like 7 FPS. Okay, but here's the deal. I can keep doing JPEG. I can keep doing without any issue. This is like at 7. It's like, give me some time, bro. It's gonna take time to fill up the buffer, and the camera freezes during that time. Like, you can't do anything until it writes down all the images. So it's really painfully slow. So that's an issue. And at this point in time, in terms of what if you are not zooming in, then what? Then it will look crappy compared to modern smartphone. Any smartphone that is made after 2022, you'll be like, damn, same sensor size. You can find the same sensor size, but because modern smartphones are getting quickly upgraded, they are getting really good sensors. Some sensors actually have face detect, some have stacked sensor. And SoC, let's not even talk about that. That's god level SoC versus, I have no idea, 1980s technology. So fundamentally, you are going to get amazing images. Like, so if you have portrait photos and like something where you are not utilizing the zoom range, you will be disappointed, especially with the system. So is this camera useful for anyone in 2024? Well, short answer is it's a very niche category system, meaning if you want to do bird photography but for low cost, meaning you know for a fact that a proper camera will give me a proper result, but you can't afford it. Again, many people can't, and they are not doing it for, like, you know, National Geography or photography award. They are just doing it as a hobby. They want to enjoy it. Those people, shut up and buy this, enjoy it, have fun. And people who are doing aircraft spotting, it's a whole hobby. I did not even know. Train spotting, again, train also requires you to zoom in and zoom out a bit. So in those sort of ecosystem, this camera is shut up, take money, but only for those. Anything else, you will be fine. Like, especially if you are taking a lot of people's photo, you will be like, hey, S23 Ultra, man, it's better. So that's there. Video, it can only do, like, you know, 30 minutes, and 4K is limited to 30 fps, not even 60. So that's why I said, like, and battery is small. I think this is no longer selling simply because, again, this is one of those chicken and egg scenario. Company releases a crappy camera, people don't buy crappy camera, and the company says we are cutting down the line because like, you know, nobody's buying it. It's like, stop making crap. I'm like, this camera can still sell like hotcakes if all Nikon has done. Take this out, strip all the core elements, and put a basic smartphone camera that is made in, let's say, 2022. They don't even need to reach 2024. 2022 is SoC, 2022 silicon sensors. It's gonna be flying. But like, what if we had 1980s technology? Yeah. So for those sort of people who are, like, you know, bird photography, low cost, aircraft spotting, those sort of people, shut up and buy this. But other than that, stay away from it. You will be disappointed otherwise, because it's like of that candy. You can eat once or twice, but then you'll be like, it's candy. So this was my presentation on a Nikon P1000, basically huge brother of this puppy. I hope you have liked it, learn from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.